What's going on, everybody? Hope everybody is doing well. Today we are going to be talking about Titania in my Titania Tontata build, and this build mainly just focuses on base Titania without a helmet ability. Her base kit is honestly really cool, so I figured I'd just go ahead and make a build on the base kit. So let's go ahead and go over her kit, starting with her passive. Her passive gives her an extra plus 25% bullet jump and rolling distance, and the main feature within her passive is the fact that casting her abilities actually heals Titania and allies within 15 meters. It grants them a buff called Upsurge, which regenerates 4 HP per second for 20 seconds. And the Upsurge buff actually works on companions, specters, sortie and arbitration defense operatives, as well as defense objects and a lot more allies in the game. Onto her first ability, which is called Spellbind. With this ability, you scatter enchanted dust on enemies, which disarms them and causes them to float. Titania and allies are also cleansed from status effects and gain immunity to them from this ability. And the cool part about this ability is that if you actually hold down the ability key, you can cast the ability on yourself, which is really nice for cleansing yourself of a status effect. Next up, we got her second ability, which is called Tribute. This ability actually has 4 different buffs. Whenever you hit an enemy with this ability, it does impact damage and forcefully knocks back the enemy, while also extracting an offering from them. An offering is a shadow replica of the enemy, and if Titania picks up the shadow, she is granted the specific tribute buff. There are 4 different buffs in total. The first one is called Thorns. This ability gives Titania an aura that grants damage reduction and reflects 50% of the damage taken back to the enemy, regardless of what distance you're at. The second buff is called Dust. It gives Titania an aura that reduces the accuracy of enemies within range by 50%. The third buff is called Full Moon, which grants Titania an aura that increases damage dealt by companions and the Razorflies by 75%, as well as boosting health and armor by 50%. And the fourth buff is called Entangle. This buff gives Titania an aura that slows down the movement of enemies within range by 25%. Next up, we got her third ability, which is called Lantern. With this ability, Titania infuses an enemy with light, causing it to hover and swarm with fireflies, becoming a lantern. This lantern source is invulnerable, and enemies within range of the lantern get attracted toward it and are constantly focused on the lantern. And enemies within 2.5 meters are dealt heat damage by the lantern. You can have up to 4 lanterns at a time, and whenever you hold down the ability key, you can cause all the lanterns to explode, dealing heat damage. And finally, we got her fourth ability, which is known as Razor Wing. Definitely her most iconic ability. This ability shrinks Titania down to a quarter of her original size, as well as transforming her into a flying pixie. This is what I like to call the Tontata form, aka the tiny form. Shout out to all my One Piece fans who know about the Tontattas. On top of shrinking Titania, this ability also gives Titania permanent flight and allows her to move around the map like she has an arc wing. And while this ability is active, she also passively gains 50% evasion and an extra pickup radius. While this ability is active and you are in the tiny form, instead of being able to use your normal weapons, Titania wields her 2 exalted weapons, the Dex Pixia and the Dewata. And on top of all of that, while this ability is active, Titania also commands 6 Razorfly drones, and these drones deal impact, puncture, and slash damage while having a 20% critical chance with a 200% critical multiplier. And the damage the Razorfly does is actually affected by ability strength and the mods you have equipped on the Dewata exalted weapon. One thing you need to keep in mind though is that Razor Wing actually consumes 5 energy for every second that it's activated, so if you're looking to remain in the tiny form, you will need quite a lot of energy at a consistent rate. So as you can see, Titania's base abilities are pretty badass. Her first ability straight up lifts enemies off the ground, as well as healing you and allies of status effects. Her second ability has 4 different buffs that you can activate all at the same time. Her third ability turns an enemy into a lantern that makes enemies attracted to it, so they're not focused on you and your allies. And her fourth ability straight up turns her tiny, gives her access to 2 exalted weapons, and spawns drones that seek out enemies and deal damage. She is pretty crazy. Again, you could replace one of these abilities with the helmet, but with the right setup, you honestly don't even need to. Now let's go ahead and talk about the mod setup that I got on my Titania. I got Steel Charge for the Aura mod because I haven't actually formed my Titania, and this is the base polarity that she has, so I figured I'd use this Aura mod. I got 3 Umbral mods so that I can get an extra boost in ability strength, armor, and health. Primed Flow for extra energy, Primed Continuity for extra ability duration, Transient Fortitude so I could get extra ability strength, and Streamline for extra ability efficiency. And for my Arcanes, I got Molt Augmented so I could get extra ability strength per kill, and Arcane Energized so that I could get extra energy back per energy orb pickup. And as far as the the exalted weapon mods go, I will put a picture of both of them up on the screen. There are many different ways you can actually build the exalted weapons, but these are the mods that I decided to go with. And whenever my fourth ability isn't activated and I need to use my regular weapons, I decided to bring some pretty powerful weapons that can guaranteed get the job done and get me through any mission that I need. For the primary weapon, I got the Fenmore Incarnon because this motherfucker is an absolute demon. For my secondary, I got the Grimoire with an energy recovery build, and that is of course thanks to the Zada Invocation mod. And then for my melee weapon, I got an Exodia Contagion Zaw. And yeah, with the right mod setup and, you know, actual knowledge on how to use her abilities, Titania is a really amazing Warframe. I've heard a lot of people say that Titania can be good if you actually forma her a lot, but truth be told, you only really need to forma her weapons. I don't have a single forma on my Titania. It just goes to show you how good a Warframe can really be, even without a helmet ability or a forma on the Warframe. And yeah guys, that's pretty much going to be it for this video. Let me know what you guys think of Titania and my Titania Tontata build down below. Before this video ends, real quick, just wanted to say thank you guys so much for all the support on the channel. And yeah guys, that's going to be it for me. That being said, thanks for watching.